Good afternoon. Welcome back to United TV, latest Manchester United news. And we're going to be covering a lot of stories that have been regarding Marcus Rashford coming out over the weekend and this morning. And a lot of it is looking like Marcus Rashford going to be a Manchester United player next season. And a couple of caveats with this one is unless a big club comes in, and there may be potential future links with Barcelona depending on their transfer dealings. But as things stand, I think Manchester United fans should probably expect Marcus Rashford to be a Manchester United player. And I would say this during the transfer window, if there's two options available to Manchester United, I would probably go for the one that involves the lowest spending of money. So when it comes to Lewis Hall and the left back Salinas, who Manchester United are linked to, I would say maybe Salinas is a more likely option. And when it comes down to are Man United going to be moving Marcus Rashford on? Probably not getting a big transfer fee if they do that sort of move. And are they going to spend big on a Rashford replacement? I would suggest they probably wouldn't. Like I can't see Man United spending big on any players so far the rest of the transfer window. But again, hopefully I'm wrong on this, and hopefully we do see something happening towards the end of the window. Because I think most fans, although a lot of fans are maybe more calm than others, are looking at it thinking, "What's going on? Are we actually going to start spending some money?" But I'll go through a few of the comments again and see what people are thinking. But in terms of this one, Marcus Rashford has been giving a new squad number, and I think it's a reasonable conclusion to draw. Let's put this on the screen. So I don't think Man United are going to be giving Marcus Rashford a new squad number with the intention of him never playing for Man United. And we might be seeing already a bit of a probably I'll say PR campaign. I mean, Man United, are they going to be posting positive stuff regarding Marcus Rashford because either one, Marcus Rashford is expected to be integrated back into the team, or is this just Man United just trying to avoid any sort of negativity around the player, trying to get a deal done? So to be honest, if Man United want to sell Marcus Rashford, it doesn't really help us to post negative stuff around him either. So let me go through a few of these. Mubs, I'm not going to disagree. These owners are pretty rubbish, aren't they? To put it lightly, I'll say this one. So I'll go through a few of the comments. If you want to post comments now, see, I can't really scroll back through them too much, but if you post comments, I'll go through comments as and when. So, Solly's big up to you, Solly. He says it might be a shot in the dark. I think Rashford might be staying and we'll have the number 14. So maybe you could tell me, Solly, maybe you could tell me, obviously, your predictions are looking good so far. What are we going to see in the rest of the window? Are we going to see Man United open the checkbook and actually buy some players? If Marcus Rashford is a Man United player, okay, does that help us a lot? I don't know. It doesn't help us in midfield. Doesn't help Luke Shaw play more games, does it? It doesn't help Lissandro Martinez and De Ligt stay fit and healthy. So, I mean, Marcus Rashford, if he's in the squad, it might he might still be watching from the bench anyway. So, for me, the biggest issue is still going to be what transfer deals are we going to be doing, and it could be like a problem. This one. Curtis says, look at the deals Spurs are doing. What is going on Manchester United? We're in serious trouble for the coming season. I'll say this: like Man United, we've lost Casemiro, but we haven't lost a lot of other players. So I don't think we're going to be. I don't think Man United are going to be significantly worse. The question is going to be like, but also I don't think they're going to be better. So I'm not going to say Man United are going to be a mid-table team, and I don't think there's going to be a massive drop-off. But the issue is, I don't see us improving. And I think for a club like United, the expectation of the fans, I think it's reasonable to expect your team to build on like last season, try and improve, try and get the squad looking better, particularly for Man United. I mean, we were 15th a couple of years ago. Then we finished like third in the league. There's still a lot of work to be done. So I don't think that we should be resting on our laurels and going, oh, it's okay, we're back now. We're definitely not back. But I don't think we're going to be getting significantly worse, if that makes sense. So my anger is not about, I don't think we're going to be getting worse, but I just don't see the improvement. Be it to you, Kaidi says the talks of Ferran Torres move to Paris Saint-Germain as a possible reactivation of a Rashford to Barcelona deal. What do I make of this one? Do you know what? It's always a bit of a concern if you're looking at a deal like this, it's a bit of a concern for me that Man United seem to be reliant on other clubs' business. And this is something that has annoyed me for a long time, like a long time. And if we're talking about Man United, Barcelona, Rashford, then I'll say the same thing I said a year ago. If Man United are waiting on Barcelona to do business, it's going to be a very long wait, and it's probably going to end in Barcelona offering Man United a loan deal or something else that's annoying. So I can't really see a good resolution with Barcelona. I really can't. So when I see the deals, and I have got the story actually, I think I've got a picture of the story. When you look at the story regarding potentially there's this the reactivation of Rashford to Barcelona, I just think bloody hell, like if we're waiting for Barcelona again, we're going to be waiting all day, aren't we? So I'll just put that there. This is kind of the potential story which was highlighted to me over the weekend. But if Man United are waiting on a deal for, say, Ferran Torres to go to PSG, I don't know, is that going to happen? And are Barcelona just stringing us along? It does feel a bit annoying, doesn't it? Be up to you, Bilal. Hope you had a good weekend. So Wilcox was impressed with Elliot Page after watching the Odyssey, so he asked Babel to scout a player of similar name. What are you thinking, Bilal? Like, what are you thinking regarding like this? That it seems that Man United are looking at cheaper and cheaper deals, and it feels a bit like for me, Lewis Hall makes a lot of sense, but I can see Man United going for a cheap option, and we use the word hope again, don't we? They might be hoping that Luke Shaw can play significant amount of games, which I think is again a bit of a concern. A bit of a concern. I'll say with this also, Bilal, and big up to you. Thank you for the super chat. Saying, I think with Wilcox, Man United should be like we shouldn't need to look at players at this stage of the window. Like we should know exactly which players we want. And in terms of like looking at Salinas as a left back, if we were serious about buying him, he's got a 60 million release clause. We could have done this deal already. Like this could have been a deal we already do. And we talked about this maybe about 2 or 3 days ago, didn't we? So just for people that didn't know, this is the player that Man United are interested in. Apparently his release clause is about 16 million. If you think he's good enough, just get the deal done. But I don't know if he's good enough. I'm going to leave that up to supposed, I'll use the word experts kind of cautiously. But if Man United think he's worth 16 million and you think that he would be good enough to replace Luke Shaw, then get him in. But I think at this point in time, it feels like a backup to Luke Shaw with hope that he develops into a better player. But a bit of competition for that signature, unfortunately. So let me jump through the comments. Also, be up to you, Stephanie. Always good to see you in the chat. I think I keep seeing you on lots of other channels as well. United Side Diet, big up to you. Thank you for getting involved in the calling show, United Side Diet. Always good to get a few different opinions on. It says, let's be honest, we all know the whole deal is not happening. We do, don't we? I think we need to take the whole deal, put it into the too many box of deals never going to happen at Manchester United. Frankie de Jong's also in there as well. Gareth Bale is there from years gone by. And I think the Lewis Hall deal, it feels like it should be a deal Man United should have done at the start of the transfer window, and maybe we should have done a deal for a left back years ago. But no, we haven't done that. United Truthful says Cody reporting that Salinas is an alternative to Lewis Hall. Again, I think the fact he cost that amount of money makes me think it's a done deal. Like, well, not a done deal. It makes me think that it's going to be something that's going to happen, or something that's more likely to happen as well. Um, I mean, okay, if you can put a remote control in your biscuit tin, you can maybe reposition Luke Shaw to more effective places on the pitch during sort of transitions. But well, we might have to wait for a Luke Shaw improvement, I think. Yannis says United fans act like a spoilt child getting into the Lego section. They see Lego sets and lay down cause and esteem where they want to get a normal box instead. Do you think with this though? I think like Yali, I think a lot of Man United fans are just wanting Lego. Like we're not asking for expensive Lego. We just want some basic building blocks for our team. So I think in terms of this one, if someone wants a new left back, we've had Luke Shaw for about a decade. I mean, I think we just want Lego that's not broken, don't we? I don't think. So for me, I'm not asking for I don't know the Millennium Falcon in the Star Wars kind of like a very expensive Lego. I just want to make sure that we've got enough pieces on the pitch in a given day. I don't want to see Mazraoui playing left back, and I don't want to see say when he should be playing right back, or Dalot playing left back, or the worst case scenario could be we have to like move lots of players into different positions to make up for not signing the right players. I mean, if we sign Salinas, then I'll be interested, but I think we should be looking This one. Bilal says he's been asking for Lego for 13 years. Also, I didn't really want the Anthony Lego, so I get the feeling that maybe Man United have wasted too much on expensive Lego that doesn't really fit. Um, but I take your point. I take your point, Yardie. But I think a lot of us, some of us might be looking for the sort of Galactico Lego, but I think a lot of us just want basic building blocks to construct a sensible team. That was it. So Yachty says, "I wish that was true. We could basically do like a Lego stream of like Lego Man United players. To be honest, I've seen a few players in Manchester United shirt over the last few years that I think a Lego figure would be semi-adequate, actually replacement. Violi says we could be getting Berg and we want the £150 million player instead, as they were also linked with a left back from Germany for £34 million. I'm trying to think who that was. It's like Ryerson was that player we're looking at one point. I don't know how much he cost, but yeah, and also Raum, is it David Raum, I think he's like quite old as well. I say older, but that way. No, I do agree. I think for at this point in the window, if Manchester United got if Man United got Sander Berg, then I don't think people would be excited because it feels quite short term. But I don't really mind. No, I don't really mind Manchester United. Actually, if we get someone like Tielemans, Santos, like for me, Tielemans is going to be a good signing for next year. I mean, I'm not thinking too far in advance. I would rather Man United get some good players in that are going to be effective over the short term anyway. But if you think about it, someone like Tielemans, if these sort of players help Man United to at least finish third again or try and improve, then we should be in a better position to sign more players. I think the frustrating thing now is that if you look at the financial situation, Manchester United can spend money. Like we've got a very low squad to cost, like squad ratio cost to turnover costs are very low. A lot of Champions League money coming in. I don't really buy the story. I know maybe a couple of years ago, Manchester United had significant losses and they had an issue there. I don't think they got so much of an issue this season. Big up to you, Niche fan. Good to see you in the chat. I think I fell out with someone on United Streams channel because they were saying that any improvement from 15th represented progress. I think if you use 15th as a benchmark to measure progress, then you're going to be happy with like 10th or 12th, aren't you? And for me, that's just ridiculous. So I think Man United fans are right to be annoyed because the ever since Manchester United sold Cristiano Ronaldo and replaced him with some mediocre players, it's been one direction the club's been going in, unfortunately. And I think with Ineos, that maybe some of the cost cutting, it might well be because they're saving money for the stadium. But I think what is the cost of doing that and not getting a good team to play in that stadium? For me, that is going to be worse. But in terms of like the situation we got in Marcus Rashford, which was a bit of a focus of the stream, but again, if anyone's got other questions, we will cover as many different stories as we can in this time period. But I think with this one, do you think that, like, whatever your opinion on Carrick is, if Man United keep Marcus Rashford, and I've said that it looks like the most likely scenario because if you're considering what's the likelihood that Man United can get a decent transfer fee for Marcus Rashford? I would say, given what we're doing as a football club, I would be amazed if Man United got £40 million for Rashford from Barcelona. I would be absolutely amazed. If we got like over say 25, I'd be surprised considering what we've done recently. And also, Marcus Rashford's salary is going to put off a few clubs. I mean, he's obviously a good player. He's obviously a useful player. And I think most fans were watching England thinking, why the hell didn't he come on instead of putting on defensive options against Argentina? So he could play a role. But I think the question is going to be, if he comes back in, is this going to be used by Ineos to blame Carrick if it doesn't happen? Because I've seen a few posts on social media and I've seen a lot of things where what they're basically saying is Michael Carrick wants this to happen. Michael Carrick's happy Rashford's coming back, etc., etc. We know that Man United are going to play Leeds in a couple of days. I would be amazed if Marcus Rashford isn't at least a couple of questions in the press conference and the media circus will continue. And I get the feeling that if Marcus Rashford, whatever reason, let's just say he's a Man United player next season, if it doesn't work out, Michael Carrick will probably get blamed. If it works out really well, I'm sure Ineos will try and take some credit, even though they're basically trying to force Rashford out of the club. It's just I think it's a lose-lose situation for Michael Carrick that if things go bad, he'll get blamed, and Ineos and the Glazers will try and put that blame on Carrick. So I don't think Michael Carrick's sitting there thinking, please bring back Marcus Rashford. Please don't bother getting a left back in. Like Michael Carrick wants replacements, I'm sure, but there's going to be only so much you can say. If Jeff Bezos buys Liverpool, does that mean the documentary doesn't go ahead? I don't know. Jeff Bezos likes money, doesn't he? And Manchester United and the documentary brings in money. I would say that the documentary, the contracts would already be signed, wouldn't they? So I'd be very surprised if it didn't go ahead. If it didn't go ahead, surely Man United would be able to see them. But I would say, I don't know. Did anyone see the documentary with Mourinho? Just a bit off topic, but Mourinho was saying that he was lined up to replace Alex Ferguson, but he'd already agreed to go to Chelsea. For me, that was probably the worst. And again, I can see why now. If Man United got Moyes in instead of Mourinho, it obviously wasn't a sensible decision. But for me, that's a bit like a panic buy, isn't it? Like you don't get Mourinho, you panic buy, you get that one as well. I don't. I think with this one, like Bilal, Liverpool, Ineos are giving us money. So not Ineos. Amazon are giving us money, so it's not us giving money to Amazon. But I mean, Jeff Bezos has bought a minority stake. I don't know what's going to happen regarding that one. I think I see Helgi in the chat. I'm trying to. I can't scroll back to get comments that easily. So if you want to repost things, I'll try and grab them as and when I can. No, I don't have Amazon Prime, so and I don't think I want to watch a Man United PR campaign. I get the feeling that Amazon is going to be one big like PR campaign, trying to basically spin a lot of things. This one, um, no, to be honest, for a Man United fan, you've got to try and find some sort of positive. But I don't know if he comes back to the football club, does he get into the first team? Is probably the question as well, and it's going to be a bit of a frustrating one, I think, for fans. That I get the feeling the Amazon documentary. If anyone's got Amazon Prime and you watch it, you'll have to let me know because I won't be able to see it myself. I get the feeling that it's going to be a lot of spin, a lot to try and push that Man United are working hard. We're doing this. Look what we're doing behind the scenes. So I think it's going to be a big PR campaign, unfortunately. Yarley's pretty positive. Says United building squad, not looking for superstars, and we aim to compete next season. So I guess that next season, are you expecting a big amount of money coming in? Because that's what's going to be happening as well. Um, but in terms of this one, say expensive players will arrive to complete the squad. This is one of the smarter rebuilds that you've seen, says Yarley. I hope you're right, Yarley. I hope you're right, and this is a smart rebuild. But again, we'll have to see regarding this one. What formation are you thinking we're going to be playing then, Yarley? So you're saying Carrick's changed the formation to fit Rashford. He will be a starter. So I guess I'm really hoping we see something during the Leeds match, and maybe we're going to see Tielemans plus Santos plus Bruno Fernandes, and see what's happening regarding that one. Because I think that most of the players should be back now, and maybe we'll be able to see them. But again, there's still kind of a. I'm guessing. Are we now assuming that Rashford's definitely in the team like next season? Like I know there is a poll in the comments. If you want to vote in the poll, the live poll is where do you see Marcus Rashford next season? I think in the past, most people have been thinking that he will be on his way, but I don't know. Big up to you, Niall. How are you feeling about the transfers at the moment? Solly says, can anyone answer this one? Was Rashford asked not to track back? Was he carrying a back injury to manage? I think the question regarding this one is Marcus Rashford was pretty much universally in the team under certain managers. And was he asked to track back? We don't know. We don't know that, do we? No one knows exactly what the team tactics are. I think in terms of like having different people in the team, Marcus Rashford was clearly also there to provide a significant goal threat, but also if Rashford's going to be on the last defender, I think he needs to be in an advanced position. But I think a lot of people would be looking at it and saying, I think Solly, I think the benchmark for wingers in the Premier League era, it's probably Ryan Giggs. And Ryan Giggs used to do all the work Rashford could do going forward, but Ryan Giggs used to track back and used to put in the work off the ball. So whether Marcus Rashford is not able to do that or being asked not to do that or just doesn't want to do it, we don't know. But I think when you compare him to someone like Ryan Giggs, he looks a bit mediocre. Like there's no doubt that he's got some ability going forward, but he's nowhere near the level Ryan Giggs was. And I think that's why Man United fans are not happy. That's probably the issue. Again, the issue probably is with the club that Marcus Rashford shouldn't have been given a contract that sort of size, and maybe he was more of a squad player. And if Man United had a better team, but the situation unfortunately is what it is. I think also regarding this one is that do you think Man United are going to? Do you think we're going to see more tracking back from Rashford or a different work ethic? I don't know. I don't think Ruben Amorim was the reason why Marcus Rashford left. I think the reason he left was because the Glazers were trying to, sorry, Ineos were trying to cut costs and they're looking at trying to get all the high earners out of the club. The wage bills come down significantly. I think it's probably in line with the stadium rebuild. That's what I think. I think there's definitely something regarding stadium rebuild regarding this one. Um, so I've never watched All or Nothing. No, what have they done so far? Didn't they do Arsenal and Spurs? And to be honest, I couldn't give a shit about those clubs, so I'm not going to watch that rubbish. Um, Story says, I remember watching the tactics for Real during the Ronaldo era. He was told not to track back, so I know it's a thing in football. But agreed, I loved the. I think it's different, isn't it? It's different era of football. So I think if I'll say this: if you see one player in the team under Michael Carrick, and if it's going to be Dorgu or it's going to be Cunha or it's going to be Rashford, then I would say for the 90 minutes they're on the pitch or whatever time they're on the pitch, you can expect whatever they're doing on the pitch will be what Michael Carrick wants if they're in the team week in week out. I think when we saw Cunha and there was an interview with, I think there was an interview with Carrick, Michael Carrick said he wanted a specific player on the left, and Cunha was going, right, I'll do whatever you want. So the players clearly know what's required of different roles, and they should be doing that on the pitch. Otherwise, they're going to lose their position. So at the moment, I think with Manchester United, if you take the player Rashford and you say, right, he's going to be a candidate to play on the left, if we're going to play a 4-2-3-1, etc., you've got Cunha, you've got Dorgu, you've then got Rashford. If one of those players is going to be a starter player for Manchester United and they're going to be playing week in, week out, I would say what they're doing on the pitch is probably going to be representative of what Michael Carrick wants. Because if a player's on the pitch not doing what you want and you've got good options to replace him, I just don't see how he would be playing week in, week out. So maybe what we should do is if this happens, maybe what you should do is like look at how Man United play with Marcus Rashford on the pitch. If Marcus Rashford is then with Dorgu or replaced with Cunha, have a look at those players, see if they're tracking back more, have a look at their average position on the pitch, and maybe see if there's differences. I mean, it might be that Marcus Rashford offers a bit more going forward than some players, so maybe he's going to be a bit higher up. But I think it depends a lot, doesn't it? For me, I think Marcus Rashford could be maybe a perfect bench option. If you're looking at a game being stretched, and Man United might be hitting on the break. Particularly if we got a lead or something, I would say he would be quite a good bench option. So I don't know. I would just say try not to get too angry about things that have not happened yet. We don't know what's going to happen with the club as well. And say that's why you're calling United fans being spoiled. Sometimes you need to wait for the good stuff. So one of the things I would say, like, do you agree with this, Yarley? Like, do you agree that the frustration I got with the transfer window is not that I think Man United are going to get significantly worse because I don't think Cunha's going to get worse. I don't think Mbeumo is going to get worse. I think Armadillo will probably have a better season. Hopefully Benjamin Sesko as well has a better season when he's fully fit. Aiden Heaven, Yoro, Dorgu, like all these players should be improving. Lamans hopefully improves a little bit as well, but I think these players were quite good. And Dallo, Mazraoui, Luke Shaw, they're not going to suddenly get much worse. And I think Tillemans is a good option. Santos is good. So I can't see how our team gets worse, although I can see it's a bit of a struggle to play extra games. But I can't see us being like a mid table team like some fans are thinking. I think that the issue I've got, Yardie, is I'm not sure how much we improve. That's the only issue I've got. So I don't think we drop down, but I don't know if we improve loads as well. And also, I wouldn't be too negative like towards Marcus Rashford because this is not an individual player situation. If players return or Luke Shaw stays longer or Maguire stays longer, this is like a club issue, isn't it? This is not going to be, Marcus Rashford hasn't been saying that he wants to come back to Man United. It's just the issue that we got at the moment. It's how we are. Big up to you, Greg. Good to see you again in the chat. I didn't know you were a moderator on other channels as well. So we have players that are miles better and start ahead of him. I don't think he gets on anyway. So my thoughts at the moment are, I think Michael Carrick's got like a good team. We were putting in good performances last season. I know some fans were like, "Oh, we're not very happy with the way we're playing, etc." But he was getting good results, and I would say at the moment the fact you had this kind of like competition between Cunha and Dorgu, and you see like Lacey kind of forcing his way into the team. I think if Marcus Rashford is going to be in the team, he's got to prove himself again to Man United. Like, there's no way he should walk into the first team. And I think if Michael Carrick did that, I don't think it would be great for the dressing room. And I think what you'd have to do is say, if Marcus Rashford's in the team, he's got to be there on merit. Like again, and I still think there's a slight chance he's not going to be it still could leave the club. Like that still could be an issue. Um, but I think at the moment, like I think Greg's probably right. At the moment, I think Cunha and Dorgu. Like we saw Cunha in the World Cup, he looked a lot better than um, the other striker, the Brentford striker that was playing there. So I think there's going to be definitely a chance of him happening there. Mark says another big week of doing nothing. Do you know what? If there's another week of doing nothing, then I would say people are getting a bit worried, and I've seen like a lot of other YouTube channels, people in the comments that some people are getting worried, some people are relaxed, and I think when you get to the stage of the window, Manchester United normally sign someone to kind of the mid to like two-thirds of the way through August. We quite often get like a third and fourth signing done at this sort of time. So if we did nothing this week and we got sort of midway through to the second half of August with no more signings, and you look at the games, we're not that far away from the start of the Premier League season. There's not that long until the whole game. And you look at it and think, actually, what the hell's going on? Like, we need to try and we need to get some players signed. Otherwise, we're going to have the same issue as we had last season. We're trying to integrate people. And yeah, so Greg says forward group pretty tight as a unit. I think he's going to be shocked how things have moved on. Do you know what I think what we're hoping as well is that like Howard's saying Cunha will put Rashford in his place, believe me 100%. With Cunha, we see a football player that is 100% dedicated. And when Wolves were playing and not playing great, Cunha was still putting in like that level of effort. And you can see Man United, when things are not going well, Cunha will always be fighting for the full 90 minutes. You can see actually sometimes Cunha actually does too much, or he's trying to do too much. And I think maybe with like that, you got Dorgu then fighting for that position as well. I think with Marcus Rashford, when he was at the club, he had Sancho, he had Anthony, he had Garnacho, and I think having those three players, if you could replace those players with Mbeumo and Cunha, Dorgu, the level of effort and quality has both gone up. So Marcus Rashford, in terms of like comparing him with Garnacho and Sancho, yeah, he walks into the team. But now you've leveled up, and Man United have leveled up their strike force quite significantly. Like Cunha is way better than Garnacho, and Buemo is just like levels above like Anthony as well. So if you look at the difference now, Marcus Rashford maybe will be surprised, but if Marcus Rashford wants to be in the Manchester United team, he's got to play incredibly well, and he's got to like find something near his top form to get back in there. Um, a question from Niall saying, do I think Rashford's going to stay? I would say at the moment, my guess is going to be Rashford would stay because at the moment the options on the table seem to be when someone like Ben Jacobs says there might be an option for Rashford to leave. I think Ben Jacobs has no idea, and there's not a lot of significant information out there to say that are Barcelona going to be paying more than they were. They could have got him for a cheaper price, maybe straight after the season finished. And are Barcelona going to be willing to deal with Man United at a higher price? Like, I can't see that happening at all. Even if Barcelona sell, Barcelona might well be selling Ferran Torres to make way for like signings they've already made anyway. And they're going to be getting, I think, aren't Barcelona getting Rodri in? So maybe Barcelona are not looking at players like Rashford anyway. So we have literally no idea what's happening regarding that one. Big up to you, Kazi. Good to see you in the chat. Almac as well. Good to see him. I think Almac and Yardi might be the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of like what you think is a good transfer. Whereas I think Yardi is very relaxed that Man United they're getting in experienced players like Tielemans and they're not spending too much. I think Almac is like pretty frustrated that Man United are looking at options that are maybe short term as well. I think with Man United though, it depends on what the overall strategy is, and we have no idea because the information you can look at like 50 Man United YouTube channels, and there will be a different transfer story every single day. It probably won't happen. I mean, nobody covered Tielemans until about an hour before it happened. I don't think anyone covered Santos. Apart, the earliest we got information of Santos was about I think 2 to 3 days before it happened, and even then because I'd seen like a different transfer story every single day, I covered the Santos like £50 million story about 2 or 3 days before it happened, and I was still surprised it happened. Like we talked about it and said, right, could this happen? He's not getting into the team at Chelsea, and I thought, okay, he's a young player. He looks kind of in line with what we're looking at. 50 million seemed a bit steep at the time, but transfers have moved on a little bit in terms of every deal seems a bit overpriced. So no, I think with this one that you can see a strategy, but it's a little bit frustrating, isn't it, about how things are happening. So Tielemans was your favourite transfer. It just happened then went. Do you know what? With the Tielemans transfer story, back when it happened, I was doing like a 9 a.m. stream. I've cut back a little bit recently because there hasn't been so much news. And I did a 9 a.m. stream. And as soon as I finished the stream, I saw, I think it might have been David Ornstein said, Man United advanced talks with Tielemans. And I was like, okay, Ornstein is like a top tier source. Something's going to happen. And then I think literally I thought, right, I'll do a midday stream or a 1 p.m. stream. And as I was setting up, just literally happened, didn't it? It was like Tillerman's done deal, 35 million. I was like, wow, that happened very, very rapidly. I think it happened so quick that I don't think it's a plan for Man United. I think something fell into their lap. I think like maybe Tillemans, there were players coming in at Aston Villa. I think Tillemans might have been looking to move out, but no, it happened pretty quickly, didn't it? I'd say you're somewhere in between. So you can't keep being an easy touch in the market, but wish you went for the jugular. Yes, yes, it's frustrating, isn't it? I think there's a couple of deals in this window. It felt they were there to be done, and I think the Lewis Hall deal was one where we could have just done that deal early on. We could have got Lewis Hall at the start of the window, and I don't think we'd have had to pay crazy money, like crazy money. You lost your lunch. That sounds pretty bad. That sounds bad, Al. So when you got Tielemans, your first question was a free signing. I think when you look at Tielemans and how much did Tielemans cost, what's his age, and you look at Bruno Guimaraes' deal to Arsenal at 75 million, you think I think with this one that if you can play football in the Premier League, and with Tielemans, you can play football in the Premier League at a team that's capable of getting top four, a team that's capable of winning European trophies, then you're going to cost a lot. It's just for me, I would say if you're going to compare Tielemans, just say, are you more happy with Tielemans than Edison from Atalanta? I think that's basically the alternative. So Man United were going to get Edison from Atalanta, and at the time when we're talking about Edison, I was like, okay, right, he's quite cheap. His salary is going to be quite low. But in the back of my mind, I was thinking Edison's never kicked the ball in the Premier League. We don't know how it's going to work out. And when we replaced Edison with Tillemans, my first reaction was, okay, that seems I feel a bit more relaxed. I know what Tielemans can do, and I thought Tielemans actually had a decent World Cup. I thought that he was actually playing quite well, and I was thinking, right, Tielemans is a decent signing for Man United. I'm not going to suddenly say great, we got Tielemans in. He's the final piece of the jigsaw. He's not the final piece of the jigsaw, but he is a jigsaw piece that could be here for at least useful player for 2 or 3 years. Like as a minimum, he's going to be good for a couple of years. Next season, it definitely helps replace a bit of the experience and leadership we lost when we lost Casemiro. And maybe also Bruno Fernandes having a bit more experience alongside him is going to help as well. And it's going to help someone like Santos having Tielemans in the team as well. And maybe with Mainu. I think Mainu was learning a lot from Casemiro. I think Mainu could learn a lot from Tielemans as well, a more experienced player playing in the Premier League. So I think that's also a good option. And again, I think when you're looking at Tielemans, my argument would be you need to have a mix of youth plus experience. So having like a team of youngsters might look good financially. Everyone's on a low salary. Everybody's going to improve with time, which they are going to improve with time. But you have a Chelsea model that never really looks like it's capable of suddenly winning things. And I think with Man United, I was happy with like the Santos deal. I was happy with like when we got Dorgu in heaven. And if we're going to sign a few more younger players, I'm happy with that. I mean, if we get the Salinas deal from the Spanish left back we're looking at, I don't mind that deal either. Or actually, did he play for Belgium? I think there's a few options now. There's players we're looking at that are already playing decent football. I don't mind those deals, but I think you do need to have some experience alongside them. It's like Aiden Heaven and Yoro. You're going to have like some experience alongside them for at least the next year or two. Yeah, to be honest, when we were kind of slightly linked with Buadi, I was thinking Buadi. Buadi for me is probably the one option, and there's not loads out there, but Buadi's probably one of the few players that is very young, so will get better with time, but also he's probably good enough to not walk into like maybe the top teams, but he's good enough to have an effect straight away. So I think with Buadi, you saw him in the World Cup, and he was against Casemiro and Bruno Guimaraes, and he was a better player than them in that game. I know it's only one game, and unfortunately for Morocco, they had some very tough games in that World Cup. So you're not going to see the best of him. But I think against Brazil, he did look very good. And I was hoping that we get Buari, but unfortunately, we didn't get the player I wanted. So we'll have to see. Yeah, Tielemans is a shrewd signing. I guess with this one is it's a bit like a Casemiro signing because you're not going to have him for like he's not going to be great for like 5 6 years. But the price is a lot lower. So Tielemans for 35, Casemiro for 60. I'm not sure how much Tielemans is getting paid as a salary, but it's probably going to be half the amount that Casemiro got. So I think it's a good deal overall. Like as in, like it's not the deal. The reason why I get angry in transfers is not because we signed Tielemans, it's that because I get the feeling that Michael Carrick is not going to be adequately backed to. And again, it's not like saying we need loads and loads of shiny new toys, but I think we have to appreciate that most people know that we've got a lot more games of football to play, so the squad needs to be a bit deeper. Like we need to have if you had a number in your head of how many first team players Manchester United had last season, apart from the first 11 and a few rotational options, there wasn't a lot more on the bench. Right? Under Michael Carrick, there was maybe like two or three options on the bench, but beyond that, you're pretty much dipping into the academy. And I think what we need to see this season is a good first 11, but at least five or six options on the bench. So for me, if Casemiro is going, and we also lost Agati to injury, we need to bring in more than two people. That's just for midfield. And I think also, if you think about the defence as a whole, like we probably need to get one full back in and one centre back in, and probably one forward player. So I'm not asking for crazy money. I'm just asking for just like a slightly bigger squad. That's what I'm saying. So instead of having two players signed like Tillemans, and I don't really count academy player signings at this point. I think United need three more players that are going to be at least on the bench. Right, that's what I would say. Be up to you, Gaz. Um, we've been talking a little bit about Marcus Rashford, a little bit about Manchester United's transfer plans as a whole. And I think my issue is always going to be that social media will turn on a lot of players quickly. Is it going to turn on Michael Carrick if Man United start badly? And I would say at the moment that as the window stands, I think Michael Carrick has been given probably the bare minimum. Like you replaced Agate, you replaced Casemiro. You've done it with probably two of the cheaper options. I'm not going to say the poor players because they're not poor players, but the question is going to be: is Michael Carrick going to be able to build on last season? And I would say he's probably going to be able to. Man United should achieve more next season than they did last season because last season they got nowhere in any cup competition. So I'm expecting a bit more in cup competitions this year. And I think the expectation from fans and should be that Man United should make sure they finish in Champions League football qualification next season. But the question is going to be, is that possible? And at the moment, I think it's 50-50 given the transfers. And we're expecting a few other teams to improve, aren't we? I don't know how much they'll improve. I mean, I don't think we'll get worse, but I don't know how much we're going to be able to improve. Stiller's name not mentioned for a while. No, Stiller's name has not been mentioned for a long time, has he? So I would say, in terms of like Angela Stiller, then I think Angela Stiller's teammate has been mentioned a little bit more. But again, at the moment, if I said to people watching now, if you pick if you pick one name you think Man United's going to sign in the window, okay, so we got it's the 10th of August, so we got another 20 days or so. What name do you think Man United's going to sign? If you can guess one player Man United signs, Marcus Rashford doesn't count as a sign. But if you can pick one name in the comments, okay. So I said this a while ago, and actually on the stream, no one predicted Santos, no one predicted Tielemans. Pick one name, and it's not a competition because my memory is too poor for that. But people in the comments will remember. Who do you think we're going to sign? I'd say big welcome to Greg. Greg, thank you for being a United TV member. Really appreciate it, Greg. So, legend Greg. So, Mark opens the bidding with Alex Scott. So, I do like that signing, Mark, but I think he might be too expensive. So, I think he might be too expensive. So, Alex Scott, I do like, but I think he might be a bit expensive. So, I'm actually trying to think. I was actually quite good at predicting transfers last season, but I think Man United had a lot more leaks, and now it's got very, very difficult. So Gaz is going for random. To be honest, Gaz, I think random player might be the winner here. But if someone can name a name, I'll give them full credit. The same way that End the Madness predicted top four last season. And so you're saying that we're getting all good players, but not top superstars, and saying no, exactly. But we quite often do regular calling shows, and if you want to get your thoughts out in a bit more of a it's a bit easier to talk sometimes, isn't it, than it is to type in the comments. So if you want to then come on the stream and have your say, you're welcome to do that. So you think Noah and Thwaite should get more game time? Like I would at the moment, I would say I think Lacey and Thwaites might be the two that get some time. That's my prediction. And um Yanni says Berg is I think Berger's like a good. Berg's like a solid shout. Nikki said, yeah, maybe Andy Burnham can pass a law, Nikki, and say it's basically illegal for Man United not to spend some money. I mean, if he could get rid of the Glazers, that would be pretty nice, wouldn't it? You have no idea. Enos are very unpredictable. Do you know what I was getting the feeling that you know how we say use the word unpredictable, and this kind of makes me laugh a little bit, but it is quite a serious point. Do you think the transfer window is unpredictable because Manchester United, as a football club, don't even know who they're going to sign? I mean, with Santos, they knew, but I can't imagine for a second, I cannot imagine for a second that Tillemans was planned beyond Tillemans as agent getting involved, etc. I know that sounds pretty bad, but I hope you get better soon, Solly. So you think that David Raum can unlock Sesko headbutting goal skills? Apparently, Lacey put in a lot of good crosses when Lacey was playing in pre-season match. So Forrester's negotiating to sign Lamine Camara. He's quality. I wanted him. I don't understand what we're doing. So Ramos a proper wing back. I'm not sure you'll put Luke Shaw out of the team. So I think if someone's going to be a bit more of a wing back, I don't really see Man United going for that sort of player. If you're looking at trying to think who's the example, who's the guy that Liverpool got that's a bit more attacking that Man United fans wanted as a wing back. So I think sometimes you get wing backs, you might be looking at a bit of limitation in terms of defensive. I think United need someone that's going to be at least solid defensively, like a Dennis Irwin's going to be for me like the gold standard. Someone that is going to be, and maybe Ashley Young, no, so Ashley Cole's the other one. Someone that's going to be a very tenacious defender, but also pretty good attacking wise, good at crossing, etc. So I don't think there's many of those players around. But I would say for me, Ashley Cole, Dennis Irwin are the two standout players. So I think they would be looking for someone that's going to be maybe more defensively sound because we have got a lot of attacking players in the team as well. But any more shouts on a potential signing? Anybody think that we're going to be moving for someone like Salinas? There's a little bit of noise about him over maybe the last 24 hours. We talked about this maybe I don't know, like 4 or 5 days ago as well. £60 million, quite cheap. It sounds a bit like Newcastle have said, Lewis Hall, no, it's not happening. Oh, also, the title had this in it as well because I did see this, and my first reaction was, I want to see some credible sources. Oh, something just hit something. I want to see some credible sources, and with this one, I don't know. This seems to be a bit like an internet opinion piece, and I'm not sure what people think about this one. But Wharton's been linked with Manchester United for, I don't know, like 18 months. Seems like quite a lot. And the cost, I think when we started the stream, someone put in the cost said it's going to be like 100 million. If he costs 100 million, then I think it's not going to happen. Like that's not going to be happening as well. But is this another indication of what the hell is going on? Like every single day, like I was saying, every single day you get a different transfer story. And I know a few people that regularly watch. I mean, Berber's around. He also would really love Wharton. It's just like another nonsense story. And my worry is that Man United linked to Wharton. I think Wharton's going to cost more than Man United are prepared to pay. So that's what I say. If you're going to guess any sort of transfers, I think you have to look at what's the lowest, like what's the cheapest deals Man United are going to do. That's what I'm thinking. Um, Blas says Wharton is your last hope. I think maybe Adam Wharton and Alex Scott might be representative of the last two expensive-ish midfielders to move, but I would say Wharton's it would be a good signing, but I don't know if Man United are going to be looking at getting him now. So you think Wharton goes to Forest late in the window to replace Anderson and rejoin Glasner? Do you think with this one though, Adam Wharton's come up from Blackburn. He's gone to Crystal Palace, done really well there. I don't know. Nottingham Forest have lost Anderson. They are a team that's going to be buying and selling each transfer window. They do sell players, they do, but I don't know if you look at if Adam Wharton goes for 100 million, then that big profit that Forest made, most of it's gone, and they've effectively replaced Anderson for Wharton, and they're not going to have lots of more money to spend. I don't know if their team even improves if that happens. So I've no idea if that'd be a good option. I said too many podcasts use hype phrase like wonder kid or monster player. I don't think we've seen a monster player in the Premier League for. I would say the monster player in the Premier League at the moment is Haaland because Haaland scores a crazy amount of goals every single season. There's only a few things you can rely on. One is going to be that Haaland's going to score, and Man United are going to do some sort of panic buy towards the end of the window. But no, I think a lot of like Curtis, you're right. There's just a lot of hype, isn't there? But I think it's to get attention because effectively that's how social media tends to work, isn't it? So I like that one, Mark. Never bought into the buzzwords, but who's the marquee signing? There is no marquee signing, and I don't think there is at this point in time in world football. I don't think there's a lot of. I don't think there is a lot of marquee signings. But when you look at it, the team that won the World Cup, then who are the marquee players? Because they're players that like Rodri's not going to go for insane money. Like Cucurella was playing well, but I think it was like team over individuals. The team with the more exciting individuals, France, didn't even get to the final. And maybe the most exciting player in the Spanish team is probably not the reason why they win games. So Yamal looks great, but the reason they win games is just by controlling the midfield, and that's the difference. So you'll defend Carrick. I don't think anyone's here is going to be. I don't think anyone here is going to be saying anything negative about Carrick at the moment. Like the season hasn't started, he did really well, and I'm not going to comment on someone I don't watch what they're saying, but I think at this point in time, Michael Carrick just needs to be back, doesn't he? I think most people watching will go like, at the moment, if the window's shut tonight, and people have asked me this question, what would you think? And I would think, bloody hell, what has happened? Because I mean, because I'm still thinking that we need to get two players in as a minimum to give Michael Carrick a few more options. And I'm thinking at the moment, if we didn't get a left back, I'm starting to think that maybe a centre back might be more priority because in left back you've got okay, Luke Shaw. If he plays a lot of games, we could keep Harry Mass as a backup. We could move Mazraoui or Dallo in a left back situation. We have got an option for Yora, a right back as well, which is not a bad option. And I'm just thinking, I'm a bit more concerned about what's going to happen in the centre of defence when De Ligt isn't available and Lissandro Martinez has a lot of injury issues as well. So my worry is going to be what's going to happen in those situations. But I don't think any of us are going to be 100% happy when the window shuts. Uh, United Dice says you hate yeah, everybody hates seeing legends thrown under the bus because of terrible ownership. You just have to hope that something happens in the rest of the window. Gaz says Carrick has not been backed enough so far, that's for sure. At the moment, he hasn't been backed. He's been given effectively the starting 11 is somewhat similar to last season. You've just got like Agate was never going to get into a Michael Carrick team anyway, was he? He wasn't good enough. So what you've done here is effectively Casemiro's gone, Tielemans comes in. That's effectively like our starting 11 change. The only issue is going to be we have no idea like how good Tielemans is going to be over the season. I think he's going to have different strengths, different weaknesses to Casemiro. I don't think he's going to replace the Casemiro headed goals, but he may be more effective when we lose the ball. He might be better in midfield overall in terms of off the ball work. But Casemiro won his duels, was good in the air. He had some strengths, but mobility was obviously a weakness. It maybe put a bit of a handbrake on how Carrick wanted to play some matches, and maybe with Tielemans or Santos, we've got a bit more. Maybe we've got a bit more dynamism in midfield, possibly. But I think beyond that, the squad is essentially the same. And that's not to say the squad's suddenly going to be regressing, but it's not going to be suddenly improving loads as well. Now, I would say you could go back to the start of this channel and the previous one, Red Devil United. We were never attacking managers, and we've always said pretty much on this channel that unfortunately most managers hit the wall based on the transfers not being good enough, the squad and the owners not being up to what they should be. Maybe with last season was a bit different because obviously I think Ruben Amorim said a few things and they sacked him for that reason. But again, it's something that should have been avoided, and it's just another indication that have Ineos got a handle on what they need to do as well. Almac says Tielemans, you think he's a defensive liability, and Maine's not good enough defensively. So maybe with this one, maybe Santos is going to play more games than we think. Then Al, maybe a quick question for you is then in terms of like assessing how Man United improve or don't do. Are we going to be looking at if you look at how many goals we conceded last season, Al? Do you think it's going to be lower or more next season? Because at the moment, I think the big issue Man United have got is they've got to reduce the amount of goals they they're conceding because our attack's looking pretty good, but I do think we're still conceding way too many goals. Uh, Emsky says Amarin fixed the attacking part, got sacked. Carrick will fix the midfield and get sacked. The cycle will continue. Thing is, though, has he even? Michael Carrick hasn't even got a chance to fix the midfield, and also, I don't. Sacking managers is quite expensive. I would say if Michael Carrick finishes in Champions League positions, I cannot see him getting sacked. Like if Ruben Amorim had not said anything against the Glazers, I think I was thinking last season when we were talking about it, I thought Ruben Amorim would stay at Manchester United because he was it looked like he was on track to get Champions League football. You know, we were kind of about fifth, I think, when he got sacked. So I thought he might keep his job as long as he got Champions League football. And again, this is not a metric for fans. Like most fans watching, like we're not going to be sat here going, "Oh, great, we got Champions League football, brilliant!" Like that's our aim. That's not our aim, but it might be the minimum. There might be the requirement to keep your job as head coach over the next couple of years. So I think with Michael Carrick, we've seen this with lots of different managers in the past, haven't we? We saw this with Van Gaal that you miss out on Champions League, you get sacked. So I think with Michael Carrick, he's. I hope he doesn't get to a situation. This is kind of the only worry I've got. If he gets to a situation where he needs to compromise cup competitions to make sure he finishes in Champions League football, that's probably a bit of a concern. But if we're looking good for Champions League football, happy through the season, maybe we can see Man United go a bit more to try
If
and
we're
win a
looking
cup
good for
competition.
Champions League
So
football, happy through the season.
let's have a look at. Be up to you, Danny, as well. Just come in the comments. And we are a bit earlier today, a little bit earlier. Um, so we will be finishing quite soon. If anyone's got any like, final comments, then with a limited amount of news, I used to do 9 a.m., 1 p.m., and like an 8 p.m., but there's been so little news this season, it's very difficult. And also, lots of regular guests are effectively on holiday, and I've been on holiday as well. So it's kind of difficult to do that many streams. I will say, if you're new to the channel, we are quite close to 900, which is a little bit of a milestone. But for people that know, we used to have Red Devil United. We got to like over 10K on that channel, and then YouTube decided that it didn't like something for whatever reason. So if you got in new recently, we have big plans to try and grow the channel over the next few years. But if anyone's got any sort of final questions, um, yeah, I did say this, Danny. Like one player you think we're going to sign? Because I think you and myself both said we thought we are going to get Fernandez a while ago. You thought we are going to get Belieber. So last question, people watching. I will close the poll and give you the results. So let me just open the stream. So where does Marcus Rashford play next season? So this might be bad news for a few people watching, and it might be potentially some difficult streams coming up, but most of you think Marcus Rashford is going to be a Manchester United player. And Barcelona gets just 3%, but quite a big percentage, 38% of people do think that maybe there's another option. Maybe there's a third option for Marcus Rashford, but we just don't know about it. And at the moment, I don't know what other credible options there are. For me, there's not loads of other options, but we'll have to see regarding that one. Um, I'm not sure how you pronounce the name, but Andres, but he is somebody that's he's the teammate of Angela Stiller. He has been he has been quite highly talked about. Depends how much he costs. I guess as soon as if anything starts happening, maybe the cost is going to go up. I don't know. Um, but maybe they will be doing that one. I think maybe that's what they're looking at. Believe it is injured, but no one knows how injured he is at this point. But guys, I'm going to head off. There might be a live stream tonight or a video. It depends on Manchester United news. But if you are new, please subscribe. Also, if you're able to share the channel and also check out the call-in show we did. Jules joined and Jules Jr. also came in and United Side Die. Some good call-in show guests recently. Please check out that if you haven't. We'll hopefully be live tonight, depending on news and guest availability. But it all depends on what's happening and what time we've got. But until then, guys, there will be a few streams based on like the Leeds preview tomorrow night probably, and then there will be a call-in show after the Leeds match. If you want to join in, have your say on anything Manchester United, we will do a live call-in show at full time after the Leeds match. So please check that out. But until then, guys, have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.